Well, hello everyone. I'm Tamara and welcome to Tam's Psych Advice. So today I'm going to explore the INTJ and the INFJ. And when I was, you know how you're kind of in a relaxed state, and I just started thinking about different couples that are this combination, and I was like, I haven't done a video on this couple. So I started looking through my playlist and I'm like, wow, I can't believe I haven't made a video on this couple because I think it's a quote unquote common couple. And I say that because there are not just a gazillion of either of these types, but somehow they do find each other. And I tend to think that sometimes having one letter different, like this couple, because they have all the same letters except for the thinking and feeling preference, that it intensifies the relationship. Not always, because there are some MBTI types that are one letter off that may not like each other at all. So that's not necessarily the case. But in some cases, like this couple, I think it can really intensify the relationship. So, what's interesting to me about this type is, I'm thinking of one particular couple that said, "We're so different." Like the guy always says, "We're so different." And I'm like, in what ways? Yeah, there are a few differences in your cognitive stack, but you both lead with introverted intuition. And I have a question for you. Do you think that some couples can disagree with each other because they're so similar? Think about that for a second. So, when I'm thinking of this particular couple, they do have arguments sometimes, but it usually is because they're both accusing each other of not being perfectionistic, but having perfectionistic tendencies towards each other. Like, you think you never make mistakes. No, you think you never make mistakes. Well, you hold me to a standard that I can't reach. Well, you do the same thing to me. You hold me to a standard that I can't reach. So both of these couples can be perfectionistic. Not always, and you can see differences in the way that, like, you can take 8 INFJs and you're going to find different areas in which they exercise their perfectionism. So it may not come across always the same. Same thing for an INTJ. You put 8 of them together and one might not care about being messy. That might not be their top thing. Like, oh, everything has to be nice and neat and perfect. But you can find some lane of perfectionism in both of these types, which can cause them to clash. One of them said, I don't make mistakes. The INFJ said that she doesn't do anything wrong. And of course that made the INTJ say, "Are you kidding me? You do things wrong every day. I just don't say anything." And I think what she means by that is that perfectionistic tendency is going to make you try to do everything right with a sense of morals and ethics. But that can be subjective, I guess, to a certain degree. So I'm sure she's not robbing a bank, and I'm sure she's very conscientious of other people and aware and tuned in. And that's what makes her say, I'm not just deliberately doing anything wrong. I'm expending a lot of energy trying to do things right. And the INTJ could make the same argument that, hey, I'm trying to do things as straight in a line as I possibly can. I'm not trying to hurt anybody. I'm trying to get to this level of perfection, or like if they have a business, do everything correctly and ethically and not just screw people over. I think both of them can be quite conscientious in that way. But where they're going to clash is that thinking and that feeling. And in every type, there's going to be some preference in every couple. There's going to be some preference where you clash, where you have to be careful. You have to be aware, where feelings can get hurt, where people can be greatly misunderstood. So even though they have all of those preferences in common, that F and that thinking, the thinking and feeling preference can cause a lot of problems. Because if you're a feeler, you're going to be subjective about things. If you're a thinker, you're going to be objective about things. You're going to be, the NF temperament tends to be softer. They're going to use that feeling function to really step in and see how people feel what they're feeling. They have that ability. But an NT, that's always going to be a tougher temperament. You got that N and that thinker preference paired together. They're going to be brutal sometimes. They're not going to be, they don't have that feeling preference going on. That's not to say that they can't be sensitive, but that's sometimes they're not even thinking in that way, like, oh, how am I feeling today? They're not going to be as interested in that. Even though I'm bringing this up, I think for the most part, this couple gets along really well. Like they can put their differences aside and they can have a really fun, happy, positive relationship. I'm thinking of another couple with this preference and they get along really well, but I do remember her getting a little bit jealous when they were talking about past relationships or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was, but that's okay. Like that's natural, that's normal. I mean, she was trying to play it off, but of course he was seeing through that like, I see your jealousy. Yeah, you're not hiding it. But he said that he was an INTJ, and he said that he loved the way his INFJ would listen to him some mornings and just let him talk his thoughts out. And he said about the INFJ that she was so sweet and so nice and just such an admirable person. And she, the INFJ, said that she was still very much in love with him, her INTJ, after many, many years of marriage. What's interesting is this is where understanding Enneagrams for me comes in handy, because even though the two couples that I'm thinking about are the same types, there are still some differences when I look at both INTJs and both INFJs. And they probably had a different Enneagram. Enneagram can play a huge role in how someone behaves. Also, birth order. Are you an only child? Are you a last born child? Are you a firstborn? Firstborns tend to be a little bit more dominant. So there are other factors that come into play. But overall, this couple can have a very intense and passionate and deeply connected relationship. It can be very romantic and they can be very, very close and really understand each other in ways that other people may not understand them. So I really think this could be an amazing couple and it could be intensely enjoyable. So they are both introverted, so they're going to respect each other's need for space. Depending on if they're quality time or not, on the love languages might depend on, I'm just picturing these two couples in my head right now for some reason that are just standing out. But one of the couples, they like acts of service and helping people and allowing people to come in to their home to help them out. The other couple, they don't have many friends. They don't socialize that much. They've created their own safe haven, and they're in their own little world and their own little safe bubble, and they're okay with that. So just kind of an interesting thing to think about. Not that they can't be playful with each other, but they're kind of a serious couple, type of couple. But I'm thinking of, they can have a sense of humor with each other, but they're kind of serious people. So they like to discuss theories with each other. They like to be original. They like to be creative and inventive and imaginative. And so that can be a really fun part of the relationship. They may enjoy quiet activities together, like working a puzzle together, have strong opinions on certain things, but they're both similar because they're J's. So they're not going to like sudden changes or interruptions. And they're more than likely going to like to keep their things nice and neat with some order to it. And so that's an advantage of them being together. INTJ is going to be objective and strategic and a critical thinker, which is a turn on to the INFJ. And it's a turn on to the INTJ that the INFJ is going to be warm and caring and compassionate for others. So they sort of, one is the right hand, one is the left hand. Instead of it being a point of contention, it can be thought of as a blessing that they get to have both of those preferences. Now, the way that they make some decisions may be different, and that can cause some issues because the INTJ is going to be more analytical and also more critical, and they might make comments that are a little bit more judgmental, that don't take into consideration of how people may feel. And the opposite of that, the INFJ is going to be extremely aware about how other people feel about their actions, and they may also be more likely to compromise on things to please other people. INTJs may not understand why the INFJ is taking things so personally, and the INFJ might feel that her partner is a little bit too cold or disconnected or not warm enough at times. INTJ, you got to work on being accepting of your partner's feelings, even if you think that sometimes they may seem a little bit irrational to you, but that's okay. You have a feeler living with you. You, on the other hand, might become a little tense when you are, tapping into your feelings instead of just expressing them. And that can come across as anger to your INFJ. So sometimes it's okay to share how you're feeling, even though it might feel a little uncomfortable. The same token, INFJs don't skirt around your feelings so much. Some people say, hey, I like it when you just tell me the truth. Just be straight up with me. Tell me what you need, what it is that I can do to please you, or what you would like to be different in your relationship. Now, that does not mean that you are rude or that you are cruel or that you say hurtful things. That's not what that's saying. It's saying just be straightforward about what your needs are. Kind of goes for any couple, and especially men need to feel respected. So you don't ever want to challenge his competence in public or in front of other people. Except that INTJs are very independent people, and they're going to have some projects and some things that they're going to work on independently. So you don't want to use that as a place of, I feel lonely, I'm missing you. Allow them some time to delve into things that they're interested in. INTJs can get frustrated about some things. So be that soft place, be that sounding board, that good listener. So if you are this couple, let us know in the comment section. When you're feeling down in a crappy mood, it's hard to get out of it by simply thinking happy thoughts, especially these days. Check out my jewelry at the Etsy link below. You'll be amazed at how good it feels to wear something that shifts your mood and lifts your spirit. Imagine wearing something fun and feeling better at the same time. Check out my book, The Workplace Narcissist by Tamara Hunter Zyon on Amazon. Bye!